This is William K. Mart Witness 1. First of all, I would like to say Happy New Year's. We're at the second decade in the first century of the second millennium. Day one, New Year's Day. And already things are starting to happen. Now, it turns out that on the 30th of December, a motion for continuance had been filed in the court where Field McConnell is scheduled to stand trial. Now, as many of you may recall, Field McConnell had filed for a change in his conditions of confinement. He wanted to go back to Plum City and be placed under the same monitoring system he's on now. The same restrictions would be in place and so on and so forth. And that hearing was scheduled for this week. The 6th, I believe. On the 30th, a continuance was filed seeking to delay that hearing until later in the month, at least a week or two, if not later, due to the victim having work commitments that she cannot get out of. As everyone knows, Kim Picasio is an attorney in the state of Florida, and she is a rather busy attorney, and because of that, sometimes things change that are beyond her control, and that apparently is the case here, although a specific reason other than work-related issues has not been filed in the paperwork. But the short of it is that on December 30th, 2020, a continuance was filed with the court asking for a delay in the hearing. And it is likely going to be granted. These sort of things are routine. It happens all the time. As a matter of fact, there are 2 other cases that I am following that have the same situation. That second case happens to be that of Cynthia Abzug. Now, I received information that proceeding is probably going to be delayed until sometime in March. I don't have the paperwork yet. I may get it in time to insert it in this video, and then it'll be there to be read. But the short of it is that all these cases that are currently before the court that we are all interested in are being continued, which is a fancy word of saying delayed, mainly because of COVID and other issues that have come up in the process. Now, I don't know about Neely yet, if her trial is going to be delayed or not. I will attempt to get information on that and insert it in this video, so if it shows up during this narrative, you will know that there is a continuance in the case. If there's any other development in the Neely Blanchard case, I will discuss that on my next Mobileton. Now, one thing I did do, I did say that I was going to start talking about specifics about how the new format is going to go. I have a number of projects that I have on the back burner due to a number of issues, scheduling issues, other things that have delayed these things for months. But I will be starting up here pretty soon. And off the top of my head, I can think of 4 projects that I've got. The county project is probably going to be the first one to be addressed because it's a simple project, easy to do, and it's going to be a more functional project. The next project is going to be the Mesa project. The Mesa project is a little bit involved. It's going to take some time. There's a lot of steps, a lot of production that's going to go into the project as it moves along. The T10 project is another one of these projects that's relatively simple. It's quick to execute and so on and so forth. And then there's a fourth untitled project that I will also be working on. So there's 4 things. Now these projects are not any way, shape, or form related to QAnon, any of the activities around them, the task force, the high command, or any of that. It has nothing to do with any of these. This is something completely different. It's basically the original reason that this channel was created. I was going to cover trials, yes, but I was also going to be doing these extracurricular projects, as I like to call them. And now I can get into the reveal of what Mert old school projects are going to be. The videos that you will see that will say Mert goes old school. And these have to do with older electronics, computers, cameras, various objects of technology that I have used over the years, and to kind of explain to those in the new generation how these old contraptions work. For instance, I'm going to be talking about the Commodore 64, which was a computer that I set up my first bulletin board on. And I'm going to demonstrate the how that machine was somewhat ahead of its time, and also a little bit more mechanical, so to speak. Otherwise, you had, in order to get online, there's things that you had to do to get online, and not on the internet. So I'll be talking about the Big 20. I'm going to be talking about some of the old computers that I had when I originally started out. Some of these computers I used in my business. Some of these computers I used purely for recreational. And you might say I had the first kind of sort of laptop computer that I would use when I was in the trucking business. And I will show that computer. So this is basically a series that's going to be for those of us who are gadget freaks, those of us who like machines, those of us who like transportation related devices, and so on. And this was the original purpose, to be able to live stream, because I want to be able to live stream mobilely using different forms of transportation. And unfortunately, it doesn't look like I'm going to be able to do this stuff live. So I'm going to do the next best thing, and these projects are all going to be done through recorded videos, and they will be live on Facebook. Because Facebook Live, I have no problem mobile webcasting. There's no restriction on the number of people that can be there, as far as the number of subscribers and that sort of thing. Naturally, it's nice to have more subscribers so that more people can see what I'm doing. And I would still like to continue to do that here. And like I said in my previous video, I will be covering to a lesser degree any actions that the fraudulent people on the internet take that might be of interest. But it's not going to be my center issue or primary issue as it has been in the past, because it's no longer effective. I mean, nothing has changed. These people are still committing crimes. They're still committing wire fraud. They're still fleecing people out of money. They're still lying their asses off. And there doesn't seem to be anything we can do about it, so we might as well just simply ignore them. You know, deprive them of the attention that they like. And that's what I'm doing going forward. I'm also going to try and tune up the channel a little bit as time goes on so it looks a little bit more presentable. I'm going to try not to be as sloppy as I usually am in these things. This is not a professional YouTube channel by any means. I mean, there's a lot of YouTubers out there that do a hell of a lot better job than I do. They have all the bells and whistles and fancy introductions and stuff. And from a visual perspective, and even from an audio perspective, these guys do an outstanding job. And that's why they get the response that they get. And I'm going to try and make the same improvements to do that. One thing you're going to find is if you try and start a YouTube channel and your ambition is to get these 5, 10, 20, 100,000 viewers, it takes a lot of work. You know, I commend the guys that have done this, and gals, who have been able to come up with the multiple thousands of subscribers and the vast network that they have. You know, it takes a lot of work. You just don't slap a camera on the top of a TV set and start off and think you're going to get 1 million views. You know, it's a building process. It's taken me a year to get to 1,000 viewers. And right now I am at exactly 1,000 viewers. Because for some reason people are unsubscribing. I'm sorry I'm not able to meet the expectations of people that they go so far as to unsubscribe, but you know, that is what it is. You know, these people have a choice, and they've made it, and they've decided that this is not for them, and they have unsubscribed. I would have preferred, if they're not going to watch the channel, they at least leave the subscriber level there. But you know, you can't fault people. If they don't like what they see, then they don't like what they see. You know, I'll just trudge forward with what I have and hope for the best. Because this is not about numbers, it's about content. If I can get people to come back at a certain level, that's fine. If, you know, there'll always be that minimum number of people, and the videos will always be there for people to see when they feel like it, regardless of where the subscriber level is. So, I would appreciate it if you would subscribe, like, and hit the notification button. It helps. Even if you don't come back and visit, at least I have that. If you don't come back and visit, you know, I wish you well. I do wish you would leave a comment or two as to why you unsubscribed and suggestions for what I could do to make the channel better. I also ask this of my active subscribers. If there's something that you would like to talk about, or some suggestion or even a criticism you have of the channel as to why you think that I'm not deserving of having people subscribed, I would appreciate that, because I'm here for you, and if there's anything I can do to improve the channel, I'm going to try. As we wind down, one of the things I'm going to get away from is politics. I normally don't discuss politics, and I normally don't discuss my political philosophy. It kind of leaked out during all this because it's just the way things work. But it's not my primary focus as a YouTuber. I'm also going to be talking a lot more about aerospace. We've got a busy year coming up with launches, and I'm going to be taking more frequent trips to the Kennedy Space Center. Anything I do live is going to have to be done on Facebook, but I will be recording so that I can edit and put up videos of anything I do while at the Kennedy Space Center. I'm also going to be going to places throughout Florida to let people know what Florida's like. I have groups on Facebook where people are planning to take the plunge and come to Florida, and so I thought I would give them a sampling of what things are like down here, both in the tourism arena and in the everyday living arena that we all do here. Places you can go to that aren't as touristy, and places where more likely people who live here go for entertainment and for recreation. So there's that. And there are local trials. I am going to go over to the Orange County Courthouse one of these days, and I am going to live stream trials as they happen. The Orlando Courthouse is a technology advanced courthouse. They have robotic cameras in the courthouse that are fixed on various trials, and it's easy to patch my equipment into the courtroom without actually being in there and broadcast these trials live. And let people know how things work here in Florida with various levels of judicial proceedings, everything from minor cases right on up to capital cases like murder, sexual abuse, pedophilia, that sort of thing. So I'll be covering those trials in the coming months. Again, a lot of this is based on my schedule. I have had, for the past month, probably one of the busiest schedules I've had since getting involved in a project that I'm in the middle of right now. And I don't know yet where I'm going to go in relation to these projects. I had thought that this whole situation would have ended by the end of the year, but it hasn't. It looks like I'm going to be spending the next year at least on this particular project. It's going to make for a lot of mobile times, but it's going to limit what I can do. So if you bear with me, we'll get through this. Now, I'm going to be cutting this thing short, I believe, because I don't want to sit there and have a long video for the sake of having a long video. But, I'm going to end with this. I really appreciate those that have stuck with me through all of this, and I appreciate your continued loyalty to the channel. Time is valuable, and I don't like wasting people's time, and I hope I'm not doing that. This is a way for me to communicate my thoughts and impressions to people. It's my way of possibly giving something to the general public that they might find worthwhile, and I hope I'm at least doing that. I don't consider myself a professional journalist, reporter, anything like that. Even though I think the best definition would be a citizen journalist, which every single solitary person can be. I'm just one of a multitude of people that get on the internet and report what I report, regardless of what the subject is. I've been doing this sort of thing on and off since 2005, and it's just something I like to do. It's technology. I like to adapt technology to uses that it wasn't originally intended for. An example of that would be my live truck. Now, when that truck came off lease, I took it out of inventory and I converted it from a broadcast van over to a van capable of doing live streaming. Now, it wasn't absolutely necessary to use my live truck to do that, but it added a little bit of a different angle to doing these live streams. It had equipment that could be adapted over to internet broadcasting that was already built into it. It had a telescopic mast that went 80 feet in the air, give or take, and with a remotely controlled camera on the top of it, I could pan, tilt, and zoom from the top of the van, and the zoom capability of the camera, which surprised me, was enough to give people the impression they were standing right there in the middle of the action, when in fact I was 100 feet away. And what is funny is I was using closed circuit security cameras. These cameras were never intended to be used for broadcasting, and they were never intended to be used outdoors. My primary camera, where most of my videos were shot, were done on a indoor pan and tilt camera. And, I'll be getting into this more, demonstrating this particular camera which I believe still works. It's a 10-year-old camera. And some of the older equipment I was using back then. You know, and basically everything except possibly getting 100 feet in the air can be done on a smartphone. Now, if I want to go 100 feet in the air now, I just break out my little drone and up I go. The only reason I can't use that is because of FAA regulations when it comes to making money off of drones. I think it's silly, but the law is there. And so I have to be trying different methods of going 100 feet in the air without using a drone. And some of these experiments are going to be part of what I'm going to be doing in the next year. I am going to be exploring ways of doing aerial photography without an airplane and without a drone. And so that's going to be something that those out there who are interested in technology may want to look out for. And eventually I'm going to take the test and get the license I need from the FAA to be able to live stream content over Facebook Live or YouTube using a drone. And it's stupid, but something I got to do. You know, it's the FAA has gone to extremes in my personal opinion, and this will be a subject I'll get into in length and as the future goes on when it comes to the regulation of drones. Now, I can understand why they would want to regulate where people can fly these things and how they fly them, but to get that deep into somebody's ability to earn an income using a drone, I think is ridiculous. They shouldn't be in that area. They should be concerned with people flying these things and using them. There should be no reason for the FAA to be involved with the earning potential of these drones. And I'll get into detail as to why as I go into the future. Because funny enough, out of everything people use, airplanes, boats, everything that people use, drones are the only one where your licensing depends on whether or not you are using that thing to earn a living. So that's where we stand with that. So I would again ask people if they would to please like and subscribe. I would like to try and keep my subscriber level above 1,000. Right now is right at 1,000. If it dips below that, then you know my ability to broadcast live is not going to happen. And right now, it's not going to happen in the near future because YouTube is taking their time deciding whether or not I can live stream while mobile. I don't know if other YouTubers are having this problem. It's something I'm going to discuss in a future video as to why it takes so long for YouTube to make up its mind, and if they just let you kind of sweat it out and not give you a yes or no answer, or that they finally do come to a conclusion yes or no when it comes to mobile live streaming and notify you. They've done neither. And so I feel for anyone else out there who has reached the 1,000 subscriber level that has not been able to go live or do any of the other things that you can do at that level, because YouTube, for whatever reason, is sitting on your ability to do that. You know, it's a rule that I don't understand. You know, I don't know if somebody just decided for marketing reasons that 1,000 is going to be a benchmark that you have to earn in order to have the privilege of doing these things. But the other companies, Facebook and Periscope, have decided that if you got a phone and you can live stream, we ain't going to limit your ability to do that. You know, if you got one person, 10 people, 100 people, and you want to live stream, go for it. So that's where I'm going to be forced to go if I cannot get over the 1,000 level. And the second reason that I needed a 1,000 level was to be able to get credentialed to get my hands on that equipment in the court. And I've sustained that so far. And if I can sustain it while going through the credentialing process, then I will be able to broadcast live from the courthouse, inside the courthouse. And so that's what we're going to attempt to do. There's still capabilities of doing it. But I would be limited somewhat because of not being given that credential, which gives you just a little bit more completeness. And this is for you guys more than it is for me, because I can go in as a private viewer and watch the proceedings. I just can't do anything live. But if I can get into the media room, then I can broadcast live. So there's that. And there's all kinds of things that I would like to do with this channel over the next few months. And I need your help to do it, so I would appreciate it. And in closing, once again, I'm rambling, I know. I would like to hope that you people had a good holiday season. I am hoping that you were able to get together with family and friends safely and enjoy yourselves, because that's what the holidays are for. It's kind of a way for families to get together and celebrate a little bit and anticipate the new year. We're starting 2021 more or less on a clean slate. And so we're going to see where we're going to go. We're going to see if this is going to be a good year of transformation or a bad year. Remains to be seen. But a lot of nasty habits have come forth this year, and there are nasty habits that people really should break, should move on to better things. And so that's what we can all hope for. So let's go down this new path together and see what happens. In the meantime, this is William K. Murtaugh, Mert Witness 1. Have a good one.